make you know I want it deep inside. Free your mind, and I'll take you for a ride and make you wanna call my name. I am the reason that you feel like you're alive. Call for me, I'll keep you breathing. You'll be my heartbeat parasite. It's alright, let your notice side come out and touch me. Scream all night, that's what I like. You'll be my heartbeat parasite. Oh, my heartbeat parasite. My heartbeat parasite.
What's going on, Vigo's Court? You got me, your judge, the OG Vader, and you got Counselor Q back at it again with another match here tonight on a nice Friday night.
Yeah, what it do? We've got some awesome competition. We've got some we got really two teams that I'm excited to watch and see how they match up together here. We've got We Overslept, we've got Arctic Wolves. And it's week 1 of the regular season, right? So we're going to see here that it's gonna be interesting. We're on Fractured Cowshed, and we'll talk about the actual breakdown of the map here in just a moment. But with it being week 1, do you feel on a map like Fractured Cowshed, should we be expecting S tier killers coming out? Or do you think this is going to be like yesterday, where we saw kind of more like A tier, not really breaking out the S tier, making sure you're coming out with strong killers nonetheless, right?
Yeah, and I gotta say, like, I can't say too much because I might have a little bit more insight on this team than on others. So for sure, but I honestly I don't think I think week 1 you don't necessarily bring out the S tier, but depending on how the match goes, I mean, maybe you do see it come out. These are, I mean, We Overslept and Arctic Wolves are gonna be divisional rivals. So like the road to the final verdict, these teams have to go through each other to get there.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's a good point, because maybe you don't show too much of your hand the first time around, right?
Yeah.
Just because it's like, I mean, you talk about it's week 1, and since you are going to face each other again at some point, like why expose too much? But you definitely want to make sure, since we are in regular season, like every week does count, right? There's only so many weeks, and you want to make sure you're not giving up a dub at the cost of saving information. Does that make sense?
Right. And I guess in the spirit of that, I mean, maybe we see some of the same killers we saw during preseason get brought out again, just because you're trying to save information for later on in the season. At least on Arctic Wolves side, I don't know that we'll see that, just because that would mean consuming a nurse use pretty early on in the season, right? But it kind of depends, like who does Arctic Wolves see as competition within their division? Because
True.
you do have two killer uses for each killer. So definitely we'll kind of find out how these teams are sizing each other up by do you bring the S tier? Do you hold back the S tier? So I don't know. I think it'll be exciting to see. But you did talk about like just how this is week 1, and kind of interesting to see what we'll see. The previous match today, DKD actually ended up winning that, and from what I understand, it was actually it was a pretty close match, or like it was pretty competitive for a while there, and they brought Hillbilly, I believe. So I mean, we were still seeing like not the S tier killers, but seeing some kind of off meta killers chosen. So for sure, that's great that we were able to see that. And real quick, let's also go ahead and look at the map real quick that we'll be on.
I like it.
All right, guys. So for sure, we will be on Fractured Cowshed today. As you can tell, it is a little bit smaller of a map than the other maps we've been on so far. But with the 8 hook minimum and a 13 hook maximum, it really is a balanced map for both sides. It should be really interesting to see how everybody plays around with this. Q, what do you think we're gonna see?
You know, I'm not really 100% sure. I like the idea of maybe a demo dog here, just because you get a little bit of setup early as you're pressuring people off of those early gens. And then you have some ability to traverse the map, right, by traversing the upside down. The big thing I think is you're gonna want to try and use someone who you feel like you can capitalize on chases around the the main building, because sometimes that can cause a lot of issue for some killers. And so I don't know. I'm gonna be interested to see. Maybe we see it could be a good even map for like a Huntress, or Billy can really work around most of the map, right? So
Yeah, I would have to agree as well. And let's go ahead and review some killer rules real quick. I think we may have been missing an offering there, but for sure, we'll go ahead and review these killer rules real quick. See what Solar Blazer needs to do to be able to score as many points as possible. So, of course, that first and second hook are worth 2 points. Third hook being worth 3 points. Progressions being worth 1 less. We'll see if they will be the Slug God today, with that 7th and 8th progression being worth 1 point each. And of course, the 4K is worth 2 extra points, giving a 30-point total for the killers. Definitely, well, we're going all the way into the match right now, so I'm going to go ahead and take you there.
all right, let's see what we got here. I'm excited. We're getting into game number 1, and interesting choice here, coming out with the Wraith to start things out. I do like, you know, the ability to traverse the map very quickly, obviously, while you're in that stealth range. We do see also a very early hit here. I am going to be interested to see how quick our killer here does expending these resources, because it is a map where there tends to be a you know, less of those pallets throughout the course of the map.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely, if you're rooting for the survivors here, you're hoping that the conservation of some of these resources is definitely there. And we see Corrupt over here on this side as well, keeping Chase in the Corrupt zone. Gotta wonder, are the other survivors on those gens pressuring those out? That chase was a little bit quick there, so Wraith may be able to maybe get into another chase before one of these gens pop.
Yeah, so I mean, you are able to secure yourself a hook here. You're able to secure yourself like a hook here right next to this gen, but you'll not notice that like it's kind of like on the edge of your Corrupt, right? But you are able to keep an eye on one of your gens here that you can kind of string together and yourself like a nice little 3-gen situation. Just a heads up, as far as due to that lack of a offering that you were talking about heading in, of course there is going to be a 1 point deduction from that. So that is going to be a rough way to start off the game here, especially because we are kind of anticipating this to be one of those matchups that's probably going to be a very, very tight point spread come trial number 4. So it kind of tough to start in the hole 1 down already, but not surprised here to see Solar Blazer, especially coming out with the Wraith, to see him sticking around and securing a second hook state here.
Yeah, for sure, and I think it's a smart move, but for sure we also do see that another gen pops, so I think it's a really good job of these survivors to go ahead and go, okay, he wants to confirm the second state, we'll go ahead and let our friend go to second, and we're going to pressure out these gens. We're going to go ahead and put the pressure right back on the killer, and hopefully, I mean, finish a lot of these gens. It takes 60 seconds for a survivor to go from first state to second state, and it only takes 80 seconds to finish a gen. So for sure, that is a lot of pressure survivors can put on the map by letting their friend go to second state. Gens before friends, kiddos.
Gens before friends. And of course, the other thing too is it's kind of like a nice little balance, right? Because Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're losing a hook state, but you're also taking a point away from the killer there by doing so. Right now, we do see a 1-for-1. We're going to see Solar Blazer continuing the chase here. Going to see if maybe you can force a second down that would allow them to get some extra nice little snowball here. I do believe David is going to be able to make the pallet. Gets done, stupid. Plus 10 wood to the face. It is going to be important here for Solar Blazer, though. You don't want to lose too much pressure. You don't want to sacrifice this and lose your slug as well as lose David and Chase here. So this is where you have to make a choice because you don't want to lose Gbot over here getting off the ground. We do see Gbot, unfortunately, is not only not off the ground, but hasn't really strayed too far away from this hook. So that is going to be a fresh hook, but we have not seen our bottom two survivors there, Fear the Dark Wolf or Maelstrom, in a while. So can't help but wonder if maybe they're paired up on a gen and got one close to being complete here.
Yeah, it's funny you say paired up though, because there's no prove thyself here. So a lot of times I feel like a lot of survivors may end up splitting on gens because you're not getting that much benefit doubling up on a gen. But and I feel like that's what we saw in the match yesterday with Six was they for sure stayed split on gens rather than doubling up.
Yeah, the only reason I was thinking doubling here is because you've got Solar Blazer, who's been pretty well over here close to this hook, and you could double up and break up this 3-gen on the backside of the map. And because we haven't seen another gen break in quite some time, we do see though our Jake here, Gbot, was able to make it right back to the pallet. That is going to be a 3rd generator getting done across the way as well. Jake doing a very good job, staying very conservative in this loop here. Now coming into the backside of the actual shed itself. The only thing is Solar Blazer's done a good job of zoning this Jake really away from anything else. And we do have a closed door here. We're now going to break that down. Of course, we are noticing that brutal straight value coming in multiple times over the course of this trial here. Of course, also getting the extra value from those add-ons as well. And unfortunately, I think this generator might be too far gone.
Yeah, I would agree. Without having like a charge of pop or anything like that, it's really tough to go ahead and pressure that for sure. We see another gen pop as well. These survivors are putting a lot of pressure down on this killer, and really you love to see it if you're cheering for these survivors here. And another stun with the pallet. We're seeing these resources actually used in a very smart fashion. So for sure, like really good showing from these survivors early on in this matchup.
Yeah, we overslept, definitely coming out and making sure they're getting the best showing from their survivors here in trial number 1, knowing that they are going to be giving their killers, a chance for back-to-back chances to have those bigger point trials here. But at this point, we see Solar Blazer kind of afraid to commit to chase, hasn't had a chance to come over here and check on these gens. We do see a little bit of progression on this gen. Can't help but imagine that we also have a survivor on that one in the corner. So right here, right now, you really need a quick down.
For sure. And I think what we were seeing over there, where that gen is, you notice all of the pallets over there have been used to this point. And so the problem you have at that point is it's a dead zone. And we were definitely seeing the results of that. Fear not being able to avoid taking a hit because the pallet was already used, but Fear doing a really good job going ahead, running all the way to a finished gen, and this provides a lot of opportunity for that gen to pop right here.
Yeah, especially with Fear the Dark Wolf, they're having a lot of hang time with the fresh hook. You do have a little bit more leeway to commit to these gens, just a little bit more. We do see the step through there should be, it's going to be a swing and a miss. We are going to see another drop pallet. That one not going to catch Solar Blazer to the face though, meaning Solar Blazer is going to be able to get the quick break and then close the distance heading this way towards the unhook. However, keep in mind, I do believe we also saw David back there. That's going to be a 5th gen getting complete as well. That's a 5th gen coming in. And we're also noticing with the hit right there that there is no ed, which means that our survivors have also done a very good job. With the light burn as well to allow even more distance to be built by our survivor here. Now closing in, making the way across, trying to move towards the door, able to get to Cowtree though. You've now got this down. Oh my goodness gracious, that's one that you've got one door open. Now you can't help but wonder, that's gonna be jumping. jumping in towards, but might be able to build this distance. Oh, we've got a dead hard. I think we should have a survivor here now close in. We've got a David in between. We've now got a flashlight play coming in here as well. Oh my goodness gracious. That's going to be 4 out the back door. Wow, what a, oh, wait.
Oh,
my
no.
goodness. Wow, you're actually going to be able to secure yourself a last second hook. Keep in mind though, we do still have a G-bot here in the trial. It looks like we've got David sticking around as well. Want to be careful. Don't want to go too far away. Last thing you want is G-bot having any sort of borrowed time and being right close. We don't see the save coming in right away. There's G-bot there. There's the deliverance. Oh, there's the
there was a dead hard in there. There was a deliverance. Nice. It was looking great, but now you got to worry about DS. You haven't seen it yet. So what's gonna happen here? Are you gonna pick up? Oh, the hatch is right there. So unlucky. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna pick up?
I mean, you would have to imagine with the survivor not moving that you don't have dead hard, or that you don't have the decisive strike, right? Otherwise, you'd be moving towards the door.
They're moving now. They might have been trying to bait, like they have like another perk or something. I mean, I don't know. Maybe an unbreakable, maybe it's really tough to say, right? Like, this is the mind game, right? And it is. What a play to go ahead, use the unbreakable and the dead hard to go ahead and get out, and that's a 4 out for We Overslept. What a play to go ahead, and you did take the 1 point penalty, We Overslept, but it's okay. You're sitting over here with 24 points. That's amazing.
That I can't believe what I just watched. You talk about the unbreakable play into the dead hard after the deliverance. I mean, wow. That's insane. Talk about a great way to come out and start that thing out. That's insane.
I just gotta say right now, like, I am so proud of our survivors right now. Like, for those that don't know, like, I'm a captain of We Overslept. These guys have been working hard preparing for this match, so for sure, like, that's amazing to see them perform that well for me.
Yeah, that's that's it. That's insane. I don't. Oh man, that's crazy. I don't.
we're just we're both kind of speechless, right? That was crazy. Like, just how everything accumulated there.
Well, I think especially because, again, when you come over and you see your slug hasn't moved, right? You kind of assume that it's because you don't have the decisive strike, because you had the DH that happened to not really build a distance that you were kind of expecting there, right? You didn't get the body block, and so maybe you're just laying there out of frustration. But maybe it ended up being just enough, because then you start moving. Because if they hadn't started moving, maybe they're too close to the door and that pickup comes in before the unbreakable is available, right?
Right, which I think is exactly why I think the sitting there for a while is also waiting for your exhaustion timer, right? You're waiting for that to happen, waiting for you to be able to crawl. Dead hard's available. Go ahead and get out dead hard, and you're out of the trial. There's nothing the killer can do. Just like going down where you did, it's crazy, because what I was thinking was, if you're the killer, you're already worried about decisive. You haven't seen decisive all game.
Right, exactly. And usually the decisive's on your deli player, right?
Right. So definitely really good choice for our survivors to go ahead, bring that out the way that they did, and perform just to perfection.
Yeah, and this is going to be where it's tough, right? And I feel like this is a situation that I see a lot where, We Overslept, they came out and had a very strong survivor performance. The last thing that you want from Arctic Wolves here is to overextend on this, on survivor side, game 1 and trial number 2 here, right? and put themselves further in a hole. This is where you come out in trial number 2, you reset, and you're like, you know what? There's not even a score. We'll assess the score after trial number 2. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, yeah, I can say as well, following We Overslept, like we Overslept has had kind of a tendency to be very survivor strong, and then the killer play has not been at the same level. And so for sure, like, you see that survivor lead and then you worry about what's going to happen with the killer for sure. I want to see what we've got here. Definitely, there's been some shakeups on the We Overslept side, so I'm excited to see how this goes. But definitely, Arctic Wolves has really strong survivors as well, so this is gonna be where we see how this trial goes. Because for sure, I'd say Solar Blazer is a really strong killer as well. We Overslept having a really good showing to go ahead and get the 4 out. Can Arctic Wolves also get the 4 out on Maelstrom here?
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is going to be 2 things. One, I'm going to be interested to see what We Overslept does as far as on the killer side. You have a lead here. Maybe I don't think that they change up the strategy since it is week 1. Like, why change up your strategy, especially since you have a lead? But if you're already planning to come out with your best non-meta killer, maybe you can build on this lead a little bit in trial 2. Then maybe you do think about, maybe I can save a killer in the 3rd trial, right? And bring out somebody who isn't as, and maybe I think that was something that Solar Blazer was going for there in trial 1. I think one that speaks volumes on the confidence of Solar Blazer, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know that this has kind of been Solar Blazer's introduction as far as the killer side of comp. So first off, just want to commend Solar Blazer on the fact of even thinking of bringing, because Wraith is kind of, even though Wraith's kit has changed and he feels stronger than obviously where he was 6 months ago, right? Still not a killer that you typically go, you know what, let me lead off a season with that. So definitely you got to like tip the hat out to Solar Blazer just to have the confidence to go with that, like to lead with that pick, right?
I think at the same time though, I kind of said it at the beginning, like, I think we'll see how these teams are like kind of grading each other, because like in the preseason, Arctic Wolves has come out pretty strong, and in the preseason on the other side, We Overslept has kind of fallen short. They've
struggled in quite a few of their trials.
Yeah, in both of their trials, right? So I think when you're thinking about that and planning, what killer do I bring for this team? Yeah, I want to bring somebody that's not too high, because
right,
but I don't want to bring somebody too low either. And I think what We Overslept has gone ahead and shown was Arctic Wolves don't go ahead and underestimate there, because for sure we can get out given the opportunity.
Yeah, so I think especially I'm going to be interested to see how Solar Blazer's chases go now that he's on the opposite side, right? Because obviously now you're in chat and you're with your comms, and it's easier to like fall back into like the team atmosphere. But if we see Solar Blazer happen to have maybe an early mistake and an early chase or two, let's how does that kind of almost feel after having a tough first trial, right?
Right. Yeah, for sure. I think it could like the snowball potential a little bit if your composure's been broken. I mean, I would say going into this, for sure, I think it was the attitude of a lot of people. Arctic Wolves was heavily favored in this match. So now kind of being put on like the other side of, upset alert, I think it does get in your head at least a little bit. So for sure, it's kind of this is a mind game outside of the match that really could contribute to the ending of this match. For sure, Solar Blazer is probably going to kill the last match, I expect. So this could come all the way down to the 4th trial and could come down to Solar Blazer versus We Overslept again to find out who wins this thing.
Yeah. I'm going to be excited to kind of see where we get to again. I think here for Arctic Wolves, you have to make sure that you don't put too much pressure on trial 2, because there's still 2 more trials, right? the last thing you want to do is feel like you have to overextend and get to that 4-out situation where at least a 3-out minimizes the points differential. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas maybe you overextend and then you end up with a 2-out instead of a 3-out, which gets you, now you're missing 4 extra points.
Yeah, and I mean, if you I mean, honestly, if the killer can go ahead and take out 2 survivors, that's 10 points that Arctic Wolves doesn't get to try to catch up. Arctic Wolves is only down by 15 points, so for sure.
And that's going into back-to-back killer matches too, right?
Correct. So,
or no, sorry. We Overslept.
We Overslept gets 2 killer matches back to back here. So that is definitely something that I mean, Arctic Wolves could use that as a good opportunity to try to score some points back, but it's also something to worry about because killers can score more points.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, right? And again, probably feel the pressure a little bit, but at least you got to feel better about going into trial number 2 down, going into the side where you're in the back-to-back survivor side, just because of the fact that during the trial you have that team camaraderie, whereas sometimes when you're going into the back-to-back killer side down, when you're in the trial, you're by yourself, and sometimes by yourself you're in your own head, which sometimes can be your own worst enemy, right?
Looks like we have one offering was Vigo's blueprint instead of the bloodied blueprint as we were supposed to see. So I think we're actually going to see another penalty on the offering side of things on Arctic Wolves this time. So both of our survivors kind of trying to feel that out, figure out which offerings are the right ones, right? So for sure, just kind of unfortunate to see, but it's all right. So for our survivors, actually, I was going to review survivor rules, but that loading screen took no time at all. We're going to go ahead and get into the match here.
Ooh, do I hear what I think I hear in the background?
I think you do.
I do hear it in the background. I have been so loving how Plague feels just overall as a killer since the rework. And I feel like we have been seeing in the comp scene more teams feeling more confident picking the Plague.
I would
I'm
agree.
gonna be really interested to see what Maelstrom does here.
I would have to agree. Like Plague just feels a lot more powerful, and I mean with even like the effectiveness on objects, we see everybody's infected here, but we've only chased one person, so they're touching at least one of the only 2 gens that we have seen be puked on by the Plague here. So that's really good info, and we do see a broken survivor here going down very early, and we see our survivors starting to all go to that broken status there.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that's kind of changed here recently, right? Was how quickly you get sick quicker by interacting with things or people who are sick, right? And I like that about her because before it makes it to where when you have situations like this, like now when you are like, hey, I need to put early pressure on, and by the way, also pointing out, a risky strategy, I would say, and I like the strategy of no ruin. As we're seeing here early, we're pushing people off of those gens and we're not seeing any sparks. However, keep in mind here, now we are going to see there with the kick those extra sparks with that pop goes the weasel, that 25% regression, and you're gonna be able to earn that early on top of that Thanophobia, which is gonna be that extra little slowdown. I really like this build that we're seeing here from our Plague.
Yeah, for sure. Like it is definitely looking like it could be an effective one. We'll see how it plays out. We'll have to keep an eye on it. But for sure, all 4 survivors now, all as if they're running no mither, right? Like none of them are healed or anything. They are all one hit down, and we see our Plague trying to play with the law of physics and gravity, trying to go ahead and down a survivor with the puke from afar.
Yeah, this is the this is the tough thing I think that's always been the struggle whenever you talk about going against the plague, right? Do we not cleanse? Do we over cleanse? It does look like the Arctic Wolves here have kind of tried to stick with the we're going to not cleanse and give them their power early. We do see, doing a very good job of keeping. Oh, nice little jukes though. Doing a good job of wasting as much of Maelstrom's time as possible while they are in that power. Now we're talking about only, is that like 12, 15 seconds here left?
Yeah, for sure. I think definitely trying to hit the survivor with your power there. It's definitely kind of nice to see, but you almost hope don't waste the time. Just go ahead, down them. You're right there, rather than charge up the vomit and try to use that. But we do see our survivors make the best of it and go ahead and finish another gen.
Now, do you think with the changes to the base kit to Plague that we've seen, do you think it still makes the double effectiveness add-ons like we're seeing here? Does that make that still the easy choice?
I think it does. It's tough to say, honestly, but I do think it does.
I mean, I just feel like there's so much value, especially if you can literally land a full charged, not even a full charge with the double add-ons. I think if you get like 2/3 of a full charge, you're already broken, right? It's kind of nice that you don't have to spend that extra time, which does even mean more so now with the ability to like tap to like charge up. You don't have to like charge it up all the way like you used to. I feel like that it makes the add-ons for the effectiveness like that much more, like you get that much more value from it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I would agree. And it looks like we have Maelstrom here sitting kind of near the hook, going ahead and patrolling the hook right here. Maybe trying to confirm second. How do you feel about that? Right, like with where you're at in where the gens are completed and. Ooh.
I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? You talk about when Maelstrom looks around, you've already consumed the one corrupt purge that you had. Ooh, unfortunately getting stuck on the fence there. That's a tough situation. Of course, you've already broken down this door over here, making this loop a little bit less of a strong loop. Should be able, oh, that's right, we already broke this pallet. So actually, ooh, nice little head nod there though to bait out the dead hard from Solar Blazer. Now going for the pickup here, and that is going to be another hook state. But I do like the idea of kind of sticking around and confirming the hook state again, just because you don't have the ability to go and get like a corrupt pool anywhere, right?
Yeah, and I do want to make note. Do you see what I see? I see a 3-gen. It's a loose 3-gen, but it is a 3-gen if you count main building in there. So for sure, if you can push this survivor off, which you do, but unfortunately they do finish the gen, but you've got 2 survivors here now, and you could force 2 downs. I'm pretty sure that this pallet, no, not consumed yet.
Oh no, yeah, and unfortunately moonwalked right back into it. So now we've got a little bit of a long chase going. This is kind of where you get to the point, right? Can't help but wonder if there is a unbreakable in play. Gets done, stupid. We do see the save coming in across the way though, so I do believe that makes a very easy decision here for Maelstrom. Since you already have the unhook across the way, you know that you have people off of gens maybe moving across towards where your slug is, so you might as well come over here and get this hook. Now this is kind of like one of those weird like 50-50s, right? Like you have somebody that's away from the hook, which means that survivors have to move away from the gens to get the unhook, but that also means you can't really put pressure on the gens as well as the hook like you kind of have on some of your other hooks here in the past. So kind of a little trade-off for Maelstrom. But you see here now, after breaking up that 3-gen, a really, really good gen spread for the Arctic Wolves right now.
Yeah, and I think if you're Maelstrom, the good thing right now is you have gotten a good amount of hooks, but you're wanting to confirm at least one person dead here. Oh, using our pop actually on that gen that has the most progress. Very smart play there. Going ahead, seeing if we can pressure more survivors off with nobody cleansing even still. With there being only 1 gen left, do you think you go ahead and cleanse?
I think at this point, I would imagine, I mean, at this point, you've been able to make it this far without cleansing. I think you wait until you have anybody on death hook. So at this point, it should just be the one person that should be cleansing, right?
I think that's a sound strategy. So personally, I almost feel like if you cleanse right here, then you can extend chases a little bit further because you're not worried about getting the one hit down, right? You can have somebody that you're okay running chases a little bit more, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, but we do see, some very, very confident loops here by our survivors. We are going to see a last gen getting done across the way. We are going to see a hit here in the end game. That is going to let our survivors know that they don't have to worry about a no-ed, which they should have already known by basically being able to keep track of our killer's perks. We do see that is going to be a sacrifice of Solar Blazer, and that is going to be 2 out that door. The question is, where is the third? There's 1, there's 2. Where is our Nancy? Do we think did they like book it?
I thought I heard somebody messing with some water in a fountain. And if that's the case, I think that's a smart play here because you know that there's not going to be a no-ed play. So that would be smart to go ahead and use a fountain. But obviously I was wrong. We'll see where they're going.
I was gonna say you should still be able to retreat to your closest fountain and still make a play for the same reason. Yeah, I was gonna say just fine. Now that is going to give Maelstrom here the location of where the roundabouts of where you were. Ooh.
Oh man, you have that effectiveness. I feel like if you're a Maelstrom, instead of swinging here, you go ahead and you use your puke, but instead we're chasing towards getting the hit here, but giving them that speed burst.
Yeah, that's tough because I feel like, I also thought the survivor could have used that pallet to build more distance, but, I think also it's kind of a little bit of habit. You're just kind of used to getting those last couple of hits on the way out the door, and maybe you weren't quite confident you could land enough puke. I think maybe you still could have secured it down there. I'm going to be interested to see how the score on that plays out towards the end of the trial, because that would have been, I think, an extra hook state plus an additional progression had you secured
it would have been
there, right?
Yeah, for sure. And we do still see an 11-point spread here, so for sure, definitely a good performance from Maelstrom to get so many hook states to go ahead and push this to like, you're keeping your lead, and you're keeping a pretty good lead. If in this next trial you can bring a killer and try to extend that lead, then that really puts Solar Blazer in a bad position, and as a killer, right? Like that's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, this is where this is where like you would say the pressure's really on in trial number 3 as far as for the Arctic Wolves, because you don't want too much pressure on the killer in trial number 3. I know we didn't get to really discuss as far as how the survivors score points before that second trial because of the really quick load-in time, but there is a 4-point differential there between the 30 points for the killer, the 26 points for the survivor. So if you can at least minimize how much of the 30 that the killer earns this trial, because we saw there you still got the 3 out, but you mentioned you gave away so many hook states that you're still talking about 11-point lead after 2 trials.
Yeah, indeed, and you did take the 1-point penalty as well, which really is just an equalizer because Woe took a 1-point penalty as well. So
right,
you're seeing you're seeing that both teams kind of having that happen, and I do believe we are going to see Maelstrom killing again. So I am staying in this lobby. We may just we're gonna wait and see if that last survivor goes ahead and joins back in here. And it does look like that survivor is joining back, so we should see another match pretty quickly here. The survivor shouldn't have to do a whole lot to get set. We'll probably just be waiting on the killer here, but yeah, this is exactly where we Overslept wanted to be, right? Like if you're talking about trying to upset like the number 1 seed in the league, you're wanting to go ahead and keep them from having the lead at any point in here, and you're trying to make it so that last trial means everything.
Yeah, and especially if you could do it to a point where they have, if you can set to a point where presumably Solar Blazer is going to be coming out on the killer for Arctic Wolves, has to have a 4K at like 2 gens complete. Like that's the type of situation you would really like to set yourself up for. But
Yeah, for sure.
we did see though last trial, the Arctic Wolves did a very very good job of being super efficient on gens, and that was while being completely broken pretty much the entirety of the match. So
And being slowed down by Thana. I mean, like they were broken,
yeah.
and like that's full like 18% slower everything because of Thana. So for sure, that's it's significant.
And they were able to do all that. So who do you think they come out with here?
For sure, I think we have. I don't know. I don't know if you bring out an S tier or not here, right? And I may have some insider info, but like I don't know. It's difficult, right?
Yeah, I'll be interested to see here and expect. I feel like with it being week 1, maybe you don't change up your strategy, but I feel like you had the potential to.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, for these survivors trying to catch up, they are going to be trying to complete those gens as we're seeing here. First and second gen being worth 1 point, third and fourth being worth 2 points, fifth gen being worth a whopping 3 points. First escape, second escape being 1 and 2 points respectively, third escape being 4 points, and that fourth escape being 6 points. Escape with 2 or more hook states remaining, and you get extra points as well. But we're going into the game, and we're going to see how this goes. And I don't know if you hear what I hear, but that sounds like a blight to me.
Yeah, I like it too. I've been a big fan of Blight since his release, even when he had the lower angle, and since that changed, he has become a real force to be reckoned with, especially in the comp scene. I would say that even some players, even though I think just with the abilities of Nurse to break through or go through walls instead of having to ping pong around walls, I think some people might even favor Blight over that Nurse play. So I'm gonna be interested to see what Maelstrom is going to be able to bring out here. We do see able to locate a survivor very, very early. This is the ace over here. However, you have not been able to secure a health state. So now you're going to break away from that chase, especially since you've already seen the 1 pallet drop. Might as well go ahead and see if you can change some health states here. We do push over towards the gen over here at Cowtree. And you notice we have 2 survivors pushing off, and we saw some sparks flying there. That means we do have that ruin in play. And oh my goodness gracious, there's already a gen done.
And look at this non-collision going on. Unfortunate for our Blight, trying to get a collision here on the tree to try to pressure these survivors. But instead, Cowtree going, no, not here.
Yeah, and that's tough. And we do see, though, Maelstrom was able to pull things off and was able to put things together, get yourself a couple of blinks. One thing to keep in mind, we talked about how this isn't necessarily one of the bigger maps that are in play, and we do see the double speed add-ons. I would say probably the most common pairing of add-ons on Blight, just because it gives you so much versatility in chase, as far as to be able to traverse the map so well. But we do see doing a very good job are our survivors here. We have yet to see a change of health states, and we're talking about now at this point 2 minutes into the trial. Can't help but think we are close to seeing 2 more gens being complete.
Yeah, and for sure, it looked like there was a little bit of a potential trying to mind game the survivor, as the survivor knows, oh, if you're rushing, you can't open this, so I'm just gonna go ahead and play the locker game. And for sure, kind of unfortunate for our Blight there, kind of powerless.
Wow, yeah, and there's that 3rd gen getting done. The good news for you, if you're Maelstrom, we have yet to hear a totem break in the trial, so you do still have the ruin that you can rely on, but we are now engaging in chase again with the Nia that we were in chase with for so long. Now we do see you have been able to apply a health state change. You've also broken a very, very valuable resource, which is that God pallet. And you're also, I thought was going to be able to get fade out and break another pallet. Unfortunately not. And we do see a little bit of the clicking. Might not be the best of ideas for Maelstrom here. I don't think you want to engage in this chase because you have no gens over here to protect, homie.
For sure. And we do see Maelstrom going ahead and disconnecting from that chase, and unfortunately not getting collision on the hay again. Really unfortunate to see that, but I mean, every Blight player knows it happens a lot, and it's really unfortunate when it does, but just kind of have to deal with it. And for sure, having that Ruin is encouraging, but for sure Ruin is nothing without map pressure, and having only changed one or health state in this game period right now, your survivors aren't inclined to try to find Ruin because they're not really that worried about it, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, why look for it when you've just been able to comfortably sit on those gens and hold M1 and hit some skill checks, right? We do see Maelstrom at this point coming back here over towards the shack, but again, keep in mind, it looks like once again taking chase with this Nia. That Nia's been the survivor. Oh, this isn't actually the Nia. Is this the Claudette possibly?
Nancy, it looks like.
Yeah, either way, regardless, now moving on to this side of the map, and we're on the side of the map that has the least amount of gens. This really isn't where you want to be if you're Maelstrom.
For sure, and we do see another gen pop, so
breaks up your
this is definitely this is not where you want to be if you're getting the stun instead of being able to break, and looks like somebody over here is running smash hit.
Yeah, but unfortunately, you know, running smash hit against the Blight, you're not able to build that much more distance. Obviously, with the Blight's ability to close that gap, that's going to be 5 generators done by the Arctic Wolves here before we're seeing a health state. We are seeing a no way out proxy across the way, but of course, since we have yet to see a hook, that means very, very minimal value from that no way out. That's another swing and a miss. Now the doors are uncovered. Oh, it gets done, stupid. We might be seeing a shutout here on the survivor side from Arctic Wolves. If they have somebody on that door across the way, we now see a body block coming in from the Nia. That's going to be a hit onto the Nancy, but it does look like we've got more bodies coming in, and I think that's going to be 4 out the door. Oh my goodness. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, hold on. No.
Nope, that's a whole gaggle of survivors. They will all make it out. That's gonna be crazy. That entire swing there is going to swing the entire match in Arctic Wolves' favor. This is now an 11-point Arctic, or no, more than that. It is a what is that, 15-point Arctic Wolves lead. So for sure, now the pressure is on We Overslept.
I don't know what I just watched, dog. The teamwork from I wouldn't say the teamwork, but I feel like every chase that our killer took there, like the Arctic Wolves there, like the one-on-ones, right? Like sometimes when things can just work out, and we saw it like that, you didn't want to break away from the Nia, and then you find all right, I gotta break away from the Nia. But then you run into another survivor, and even that survivor is super strong on loop and able to just avoid so much time. Wow, that was insane.
Yeah, and definitely I think when the survivors played it very well. There were some unfortunate things that happened for the Blight, of course, not getting collision in certain places. But let's talk about the high tier gameplay by the survivors to go ahead and know, I'm going to use a locker here. You can't hit me. Now what?
Right.
And they conserved the pallet even. So like they were next to a pallet, and instead of taking the pallet trying to stun Blight out of his rush, they hop in a locker to go, now what are you going to do? Okay, you're going to stop right there. Well, then I'm going to hop out. Now I'm going to run to the pallet. And now you have to play this again. And I can try to loop right back around to the locker and repeat the process. Like, that was the best way I've seen a team counter Blight in a long time.
Yeah, I didn't even really catch on to the locker play there until you had pointed it out while we were in the middle of the trial, and that those are the small things, the minute details that I feel like really in comp, not just in Vigo's court, but you know, I've spent some time over in DBE and DVD League, and you always see that those small things are really kind of what helps separate the best from the rest, because you know, we've kind of seen parity throughout the league otherwise, right?
Yeah, and for sure, like that's what always has to separate. Like that's what separates the good from the great, right? Always, it's the little things. We hear that in every sport. Esports is no different. It's the little things you do that gain those few extra seconds, gain those few health states, extend that chase, that really put the pressure on the killer, cause a snowball. And I think that's what we saw there was like Maelstrom was kind of left with, oh, what do I do in this position now? Because there is so much pressure from these survivors that you don't really have the opportunity to try to put the pressure back. We didn't see a health state change until 3 gens are already done. Another gen finishes shortly after we change that health state, but you still can't down the person because, like we were talking about, locker counter. And by the way, I do want to call out the survivor doing the locker counter play was Solar Blazer. Solar Blazer trying to go ahead and make up for the fact that 4 survivors escaped in that first matchup. Now Solar Blazer is going to try to bring the whole thing home for Arctic Wolves, but this thing's not over. If we Overslept can go ahead and get a 4 out here, then
Yeah, I mean, we've seen both teams now, right, have been able to come out on the survivor side and have a very big point margin. You know, we just saw it there. So obviously Solar Blazer knows that you aren't going to want to let the foot off the gas. I'm going to be interested to see what killer choice we're going to come out with here, knowing that we started off our season with a Wraith, right? Maybe this is where we see, I don't know if we see an S tier killer, but we do know that Solar Blazer is strong with some things, like maybe like a Twins or something possibly coming out here. Could be relatively strong. But also, you know, that last game, you know, can't, go unnoticed as far as talking about, you talked about those couple unfortunate situations where you don't quite get the collision, right? And you have those things kind of go back to back, and then all of a sudden the gens are flying, and now not only are the gens flying and I'm not getting collision, but now even when I am getting the collision, I'm not getting the downs that I'm wanting. And I think we kind of saw there towards the end that actually caused some additional mistakes that kind of compounded that to where unfortunately no hook states were pulled out. And that just comes from the Arctic Wolves side on the survivor side being able to capitalize on every mistake. Sometimes mistakes go unpunished and it's just like you aren't as effective as you want to be, right? But we saw the survivors there just really make sure that, hey, oh well, if you're not going to get it down, we're going to make sure that it's like 450 seconds to get our 400 seconds worth of objective time. You know what I mean?
Yep, for sure. And I mean, even the way that we saw like as soon as Maelstrom dropped chase with the injured survivor, did you see how fast that reset happened?
Yeah, really
like,
quick.
Go ahead and take away the pressure. Yeah, indeed. Like it's really crazy to see that. These survivors did a really good job of pressuring it out. And I feel like in that first match that we saw the 4 out from We Overslept, it was it was a similar thing. Like the Wraith was able to get a hook early, but decided to stay near the hook. And by deciding to stay there, the survivors went, that's fine. That's fine, homie. 60 seconds, 80 seconds. I'm really good at math here. That means I just have to have you not see me for 20 more seconds, and I got this gen.
Right. And you gotta love, now heading into trial number 4 here, and you talked about it after. You talked about it even on trial number 1, right? Where we talked. Solar Blazer came out, maybe didn't have the result you're looking for. Now Solar Blazer came out and helped lead the charge on the survivor side and now set up to bring everything home in trial number 4. And you're in a good, you have a really healthy win condition too.
You do, yeah. If you can get 2 kills, that's definitely confirming it. Really, even if you can get just 1 kill, if you can get more hook states, you're
I think
good.
it's 1 kill and a fresh hook across the board. I think I think
one
as far as
yeah, I
goes.
think it's just 4 hook states, 1 kill is all you need. So for sure, that's doable, right? So I think it's gonna put a lot of pressure on these survivors to make sure they're not giving away those hook states, and that's why I think that we'll probably see like a twins or something to go ahead and make sure you're confirming the win. You want to start off the season 1-0.
100%, especially when you're going against, a division rival, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like this is where it
Or conference rival,
really
sorry.
counts, right?
Right.
And it does look like we're loading in here, so we are going to go ahead and confirm we don't have any more of those penalties happen with these perks and stuff, right? Like,
That's week 1, number 1.
offerings.
Get them all out of the way week 1. That way we don't have to worry about them later on, right?
Right, and we do see perfect this time, just like the last matchup. Perfect. The first 2 matches for both these teams having kind of that penalty happen, unfortunately, but we are all caught up here. So let's go ahead and review these builds and stuff. So for sure, our survivors can only have 1 of each perk and yellow items and add-ons. You will see a duplicate borrowed time allowed, but you won't see perks like Prove Thyself, like Starstruck, Built to Last. You won't see Haunted Ground. You won't see any of the boons, Clairvoyance, Lethal Pursuer, and the killer uses will be limited to twice a season. So for sure, whoever is decided to be brought here, it is significant going on for the rest of the season. And let's go ahead and get started here.
Ooh, and we got the Pyramid Daddy coming out. I like this here because, you talked about with the very healthy win condition, and with the ability for Pyramid Head to kind of work around the DSs and stuff with those cages. Going to be interested to see though the important thing for Solar Blazer. How quick can you confirm a first down? You have been able to locate a Jake relatively early. However, I was going to say we saw the Jake was going to be able to work their way around the TNL. However, G-Bot has taken a Hell State change, now moving over here, now working around the jungle gym itself, and actually going to continue to move around towards the far side here. I'm going to be interested to see here, actually staying towards the big side of the hay bales, now working back towards the jungle gym. Going to be leaving some time for the survivors to be able to move across the map, but I was actually going to say look for that ruin there, and now with that ruin broken, now going to be able to work their way towards some, ooh, with the nice shot, but now our survivors are going to be able to work their way across the map freely and start pressuring those generators.
Yeah, for sure, and definitely unfortunate for G-Bot here, but listen to it knock. Listen to that gen right there. That's got quite a bit of progress on it. Unfortunately, gonna get kicked here, and do we see... It doesn't appear that we see a pop goes the weasel there. So definitely something to watch for sure, because with Ruin gone, that might mean that our kind of hope for slowdown might be a little bit harder for our Pyramid Head here.
Yeah, you talked about we have no ruin to help with the free regression. You're not going to earn any regression there. We also are going to see generator number 1 getting popped. Now we only have that help from the corrupt intervention here. Now I was going to say for just a couple of seconds, now it is completely off of those gens, and now you've got the remaining 6 gens are all uncovered. So now you've got the team being able to work freely across the map.
For sure, and I think you're seeing that one survivor is kind of near the hook, but you got to wonder where the other two survivors are. This one survivor being over here might be just like the last matchup, where go ahead and confirm somebody to second state. We're not really that worried about that, only because you're going ahead, you're taking one less point for that, and then on top of that, the survivors are working on other gens.
Yeah, the one thing though that's going to be kind of tough, I don't know if you noticed, but Solar Blazer does have a little bit of a nice generator spread that he can keep himself an eye on. However, I think the one actually to his left here from the situation that we're looking at is being worked on at a decent rate. Actually, we're going to see coming across here. Oh, no, actually, that thing's regressing. So we've got a nice little 3-gen that you actually have the Asian sensation Jake Park currently on a hook in.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we're going to see a 1-for-1 trade here, and that is what we see. And does he go ahead and pursue G-Bot? And we will see that happening. So for sure, I think this is not what you want to see if you're the survivors here. It's tough if this goes ahead and ends up being another down here, which it does.
Yeah, that's tough. Now your only question is, does G-Bot have the decisive strike, right? Because if not, and it looks like not indeed is the answer, that is going to be a GG. And you talked about a very healthy and attainable win condition. You have already gotten one person removed from this trial. Yeah, you've lost 3 gens, but it's down to a 3v1, and anybody who's played Dead by Daylight, not even at a competitive level, but just played it in general, knows how different the game strategy is once that first person is removed.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, because of the win condition being what it is, I mean, that's really easy for somebody to go ahead and just confirm all the hook states like what we were seeing, right? So for sure, I think if another down happens here, I wouldn't be surprised to see another confirmation. Ooh, and we do see a down. That range on that punishment there, just perfect, able to get the down. Oh, that was a nice attempt at a firecracker play there.
Yeah, I like the attempt at it. I think, that's one of those plays where that the survivors know what they need to get done, and that by giving up that hook, that's pretty much a GG. So it's kind of a desperation play. Nice dead hard there through the shot, but you had mentioned it there, the double range add-ons coming in, really paying off for Solar Blazer, allowing, man, you're talking about our player here that's on this hook had to have been on like literally the last meter of the punishment of the dam there. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is pretty insane. And we do see another survivor running over here and will be pursued. Not getting the prediction shot there, but for sure, this has been pretty good play by this Pyramid Head so far. Solar Blazer definitely doing well by confirming the hook states and able to really seal this for Arctic Wolves.
Yeah, and that's going to secure a hook state there now officially at this point. And now you can kind of keep an eye on these 2 other gens over here. We are going to check this one. Does have quite a bit of progress. You can hear that bad boy knocking like a 4 in the middle of December. That thing's just about ready to go. But now at this point, you do have both survivors that are not on a hook. They are both now injured. They are that much closer to being on the ground and ready to go. We are working around a relatively strong tile, though, that being Killer Shack, and it actually looks like our survivor opting to instead work away from Killer Shack, which is interesting. I wonder if maybe trying to see if you can prolong this shape and get the double tap, since it does seem like both of those generators have quite a bit of progress, but we do see the save coming in. So now we know that all of our survivors are over basically on this quadrant of the map.
For sure, and we do see chasing after the fresh hook, trying to go ahead and make sure they're not going to get the fresh hook. I do want to point out that we heard that gen near Killer Shack being almost complete, but we also heard that middle gen almost complete. So for sure, we could see another gen pop here. Right? Yep, just like that. But are you seeing what I'm seeing? I see a haste effect.
Yeah, we do see that haste marker coming in there on the right side of the screen there. And I think that's going to be a pretty easy assumption for our survivors to make if they were keeping track of the perks too, right? Like you're not seeing any pop, you're not seeing any Thana. You only saw the corrupt intervention, right? And the one totem. And now the other thing that you're seeing here, which is going to actually be playing a lot of favor for Solar Blazer, is this door over here has no progress, and that across the way, that is going to be a no way out procs. The big thing with the no way out procs, that's going to be a death by your hand as well. So the no way out procs, that's going to be with 3 stacks. What is that, like 52 seconds?
I think no, it's 12 seconds per, so 48 seconds.
48 seconds, so still quite a bit of time. And we are over here though, and you've now got 2, but it's still same situation, right? You're talking about 2 injured survivors. You're not hearing anyone though, which is kind of interesting. I would imagine at this point, if you're the survivors, probably just go ahead and split your doors if possible, or maybe even see if you can do I don't know if I try and look for a totem even. I think you just probably split doors here.
Yeah, I think you just you split doors. And No Way Out now is down. You're worried about the I guess you're not even really worried about the Noed even, because you're both injured anyway.
Right.
So yeah, I think for sure you split doors, and we are seeing, it looks like, progress on this door over here. So for sure somebody was here and still nearby. So we're going to see Chase here on Maelstrom. We'll see if maybe Fear the Dark Wolf is on another door.
Yeah, maybe Fear the Dark Wolf was heading the other way, or was somewhere nearby in the shadows and was just continuing to work on the door that we had already started the progress on. You can't help but imagine that's probably the case, since we see Maelstrom here basically coming towards the opposite door, right? Moving farther away from the one that we had already seen the progress. Yeah, looking across there, it looks like we got more lights there on the door. Probably once we see the hook come in. Oh, no. Actually, that door here is still stuck at 50% progress. But the door across the way has been opened. We have a deliverance play. Very much going to be a very close play. We've got the double range. We've got the dead heart out the door. That's going to be a very, very beautiful escape. Unfortunately, though, I do believe that Arctic Wolves had already wrapped up the decision here, but you gotta love seeing our survivors here from We Overslept still playing this thing out all the way till the end and having a very, very awesome nice little highlight there to end the day.
For sure. The deli play honestly has been really, really good from We Overslept, being able to get a lot of value out of it. So for sure, really happy for me to see it. And honestly, this is a strong showing for both of these teams. Arctic Wolves, of course, we expected to come out looking strong, but for We Overslept, it's a really good showing as well, showing that, hey, don't count us out. We can hang with the big boys too. So for sure, GG's to everybody involved. We will see Arctic Wolves committed of murder here. And I think it'll be interesting to see. We will see this matchup again later on in the season. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how the development of both of these teams goes, and see what comes out of that second matchup.
Yeah, especially I think you talked on a really good point of watching how these two teams grow, right? Because We Overslept being a team that's kind of still been putting the roster together, trying to figure out what the best combination of things are to get the best chemistry going together. Arctic Wolves has seemed to have been clicking since the preseason, but I will say though, every time we see them, they still somehow seem to be better, right? Mm-hmm. This is still kind of the beginning. They're still in the middle of their coming out party, right? We now have seen Wispy move completely into the coaching role. We've seen Solar Blazer here today have a really good performance on 2 non-meta killers, right? And definitely making a statement there on that end too. So been going to be interested to see what both of these two, like you said, what happens with both of these two teams towards the end of the year.
For sure. And it sounds like we're going to have a double interview here. We're not going to have one person in the interrogation room, but 2. So that'll be interesting.
I like it. I'm down for it. Let's switch things up here. I like it.
For sure. And so we will have, and we do have right now, Solar Blazer and Intimidator here for us in the interrogation room. Guys, how are you doing?
I'm, as you can tell by my voice, I'm doing pretty good.
We're doing good. We're doing good.
Doing good. Feeling it, the adrenaline a little bit, pumping through the veins, right?
Yeah.
So I gotta ask Solar Blazer.
He just dropped out.
No, that's
he
fine.
got kicked.
I don't have any questions for Solar Blazer at all, actually. So while we have you in here, though, Intimidator, what was comms like during the course of trial number 3? Like, obviously, you knew going into trial 3, you guys were down. I think it was you guys were looking at an 11-point deficit, if I'm not mistaken. And then as the second minute goes in, the third minute goes in, you guys haven't seen a hook state, haven't even seen a health state change. What is comm sounding like at that point in your ear?
Where it's still as serious as if we were, lots of hooks. I mean, it's like Solar was in the zone. We were like, hey, we have a 3-gen here. We got to knock this gen out, this gen next, this one next. And it was just like, it was smooth for the most part, Solar doing a good job on that chase. Really just paved the way to whichever one we wanted to do.
So do you think that there was something that changed between 2 and 3?
So
because obviously there was a big difference in result, right?
Yes. I think the main difference is just, you mainly practice against the strongest killers to somewhat, you get better playing against stronger killers. And we play against Blight a lot, and once you practice against something, you get a feel for it. And Blight's a fun 1v1 killer to go against. I don't know if you've gone against Blights, but there's some really good Blights out there that make chases really fun, really interesting. And it's just we buckled down. We were like, all right, first game, it's warm up. It's always warm up for us. First
Right.
game's warm up, and we just got our comms down. Really, like we basically we told each other what we needed to do, and we did it, and it showed. The end game was when I was running at the end there, and they were like, hey, we're going to that bottom gate by Shack. We have you with the body box. I was like, it's a Blight, and I'm running all the way from Maine. They're like, just run. They're like, just run, just run. I was like, all right, I'm going. So I start running from Meat Tree, and we take that hit, and I just go. And I'm like, is that gate ready? Is that gate ready? It was a lot of adrenaline going.
For sure. Like, that's got to be high stress for sure. Definitely. Like, how is the relationship between like the team and Wispy kind of been? Has Wispy really been like just kind of sitting back coaching you guys, like maybe playing killer against your survivors, or like how's that been?
Actually, Wispy's she's a great teacher. We learn. I mean, she's not there all the time, obviously, because you can't dedicate 7 days a week to a team, because you got to do your school stuff, everything.
Right.
But when she is there, we always learn something new. Solar always says it. Whenever Wispy's there, we learn something new. Whenever she's not there, we're just practicing chemistry. Doing the things that we tried and learned the day before. Make sure we get it cracked down. And then whenever Wispy comes in and just she brings a good dynamic and different point of view, because like obviously she has a lot of experience, and we respect that of her. Yeah, we always respect that of her. And whenever she shows us something, we magnify it, like practice it.
Latch onto it and just put it into practice and execute to perfection. I love it.
Yeah, You should have heard the end game once we all got out. It was it was a very fun moment for us as a team.
And definitely, anytime that you can shut out a killer from scoring a single point is something that you should celebrate for sure. Like, that is a big achievement.
No, but we Overslept played really well. Their first game really caught us, I guess with their hands down. Like it was, I don't know. It felt like a different vibe from the beginning to the next game. They did a really good job, especially in that first down with where they got infected and then got down almost immediately after that. And
Yeah.
just put a lot of pressure on us from there.
You guys did a good job, though. I would say during that trial, I don't think did we see us until the end. I don't think we saw a single cleanse, did we?
No, we didn't. So Plague was an M1 the entire time. Now, everybody was broken, so it was all reliant on you guys having really good chases, which you guys, I mean, to be fair, you extended chases well. So for sure, all the way down till the end, very, very good, good job to try to get as many people out as possible. I almost was worried that a 2K was going to be the best that you guys could get out there, but for sure, you guys proved me wrong getting the 3 out there.
Yeah, it was a tight. So I was the one at the end there where they were saying, hey, we should make this gate. I didn't want to cut it close because I didn't have. If I had dead art, for sure I would have made it, but I didn't, and I was like, I'm not risking that. Where I can just go across map and just cleanse and then just run in. I know she could have broken me at the one pallet. I don't know if you recall.
Yeah, I do, because I called it when we were casting, right, Q? I was like, it's interesting to not see vomit going right here, especially with double effectiveness add-ons. Like, going ahead and you really could. They could have pushed you too broken and then possibly hit you down, but like you said, you had dead hard, so you're already thinking about that. Like, if you're the killer, you're like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and get them infected, and they're gonna dead hard. But if you infect them all the way to broken with far enough distance, you're not really worried about that, right?
Exactly. And when I got M1, I was like, oh well, I'm home free here.
Right. See ya.
See ya. Deuces.
Yeah, for sure. Excellent play from both teams. And you got anything you want to say to the fans of Vigos and to your future opponents here within division? I know you guys are going to be playing more next week against more divisional rivals.
Yeah, just thank you for all the support for both teams. Chat was great. Shout out to my teammates, of course. We're practicing. We're trying to get there. Of course, we're always trying to get better. Shout out to whoever slept as well. They put up a great game. Like, it really caught us off guard, and it shows us where we have to work on and where we continue. And then for our next opponents, hey, 1 week at a time. We'll see you guys next week.
For sure. Guys, I think that's going to be all from us at Vigos here. Court will be adjourned here shortly, but we do have Arctic Wolves being committed of murder today in week 1 on the road to the final verdict, right, Q?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of good matchups so far, and it's been really interesting seeing, because we've seen a lot of teams. We've seen a couple teams bring out one S tier, right? Like, you're not using double S tiers, but we're seeing a lot of interesting plays from a lot of what you would kind of consider like your non-typical comp killers. It's been fun to watch, and now we're wrapping things up on this beautiful Friday. Don't forget, though, this isn't the end of week 1, right?
No, it's not. We've got a lot of matches tomorrow. How many do we have, Q? Do we have 4, or is it 3?
No, it's just gonna be 3 for you guys. Y'all gave me the day off because there's
Oh,
no
you right.
9 o'clock game.
You
So
right.
it's just a 1 o'clock, a 3 o'clock, and a 6 o'clock Eastern time over here. So make sure y'all are here and coming out and checking out some more fire matchups here on Vigo's Court.
For sure. And I do want to go ahead and shout out. I see all the follows rolling in, and the follows have been rolling in as we've been streaming all week and for this entire league here. So for sure, thank you guys so much, like, for all the support that you guys are showing. It definitely means a lot to us here at Vigos.
Yeah, you know, it's week number 1 and we're back up. Some people don't even know that we're back. So make sure you tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody about it. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, we appreciate it when you tell your friends, for sure. And that's going to be all from us, guys. We are going to raid a little Rugard here, and court adjourned. Peace.